Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is insert name here, and this is my first YouTube video. So, I wanted to start with something that I have very strong opinions on, which is a couple of tier lists. So, when it comes to like rap tastes, I have very generic rap tastes, like for which rappers I like, but I feel like there's some opinions I have that are pretty out there when it comes to the album ratings. So today I'm gonna start with not my favorite anymore, sadly, but one of my favorites, which is Eminem. Now Eminem's been up and down quite a bit recently, and I don't want to say it's his fault because you get older and there's only so much you can do after rapping for like 30 plus years. But I feel like he's really dropped the ball for the most part these days. Like I say, he's still good, but he's not the best rapper in the game right now. That's for sure. But overall, I think he's pretty good. So yeah, I wanted to kick things off and let's get straight into the tier list. Alright, so here we are. Here's the tier list. Now I'm only gonna be rating either solo projects or like albums or EPs. I'm not gonna be rating D12 World or Curtain Call or I'm gonna be rating his albums and his EPs. That's it. So we're not gonna be starting with like chronological order or anything like that. I'm just gonna be starting with like what I feel I'd like to talk about first and then last. So first things up, I'd like to talk about his latest album, Music to be Murdered by Side B. Now, this album is an album that I'm actually really sorely disappointed by. Like, honestly, I liked side A quite a bit, and this album just wasn't it for me. The problem with this album is like, first off, his voice sounds really dry. Like, I don't know how to like put it in more technical terms, but his voice does seem a lot more cut and dry and not really mixed all that well, at least to my ears. Also, the album is extremely samey, and like I said in the intro, I can't really fault Eminem for that, but like a lot of these songs, the themes were on the last album, and then the album before that, and then the album before that, and at this point, it makes you kind of worry about Eminem because like, if he's just gonna be talking about the same shit over and over and over again, it's gonna get really boring really quickly. Another thing I really didn't like were the beats, honestly. Now, I know what's called people say, but it's trap beats, it's new stuff, but that's the thing. It's like, why does Eminem have to be mainstream? Like, he's the highest selling fucking rapper of all time. Like, he could easily make an album with like authentic beats or like something interesting, something interesting beats, but most of the beats here are very, tired, very lazy, garbage trap beats. It's not really anything fantastic. However, there's some beats I think really good. I mean, obviously, Discombobulated, this beat is great. Zeus is not bad, the beat. What else? These Demons is very generic beat, but it's okay. And that's about it. Nat's beat switch is good, just good. And the rest of the album just kind of falls apart, honestly. It's not awful. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some really good lines. Like, there's some really good, for example, like, on Book of Rhymes, like, that whole, like, Ghost Rider scheme is fucking amazing. And Alfred's Fiend has some really good punchlines too, but like, for example, Skylar Grey, and I know it's only one track, I know I'm gonna sound like beating a dead horse here, but like, why does she have to be on every album? Why? Like, she could easily just, like, what's the point of Skylar Grey? She's not good. Them, her and Eminem don't fit together. Like, the first time Recovery, or whenever the fuck they first collaborated, it was cool and everything, but now it's just like, okay, and it's the same shit. Oh, I like her, we don't fit together, I'm killing her. It's just like, it's overplayed. However, Discombobulated is fucking amazing, and honestly, it's amazing how good the song is, and I wish he could do an album like that. Because another thing I'm gonna come back later in side A, I'm just gonna quickly glaze over, is this album does not follow the theme of music to be murdered by whatsoever. So overall, I'd say, like, don't get me wrong, there's some good tracks on here, so it's worth listening to at least once. But once you listen to the album like 2 times, besides like Discombobulated and maybe Zeus, the replay value of the album goes like straight down the toilet for me. So I'm gonna give it a mediocre, just to be nice. There you go. Okay, next one I want to talk about is let's see, Eminem's Infinite. So Infinite's a weird one because this is Eminem's startup. There's no Slim Shady here. There's no alternate zone here, and a lot of people would say this is worst album because it's not him developed it. But however, I think it's actually on the higher end of his discography. For me, I always love like boom bap old rap beats, so I have a bit of a bias here. But I just love these kind of beats. It's just really good. Like you can tell he's really hungry. Sure, his flow is a bit bitten off other rappers. Like it's not him yet, but like there's some lines here that are amazing. There's some good tracks. Like for example, one track that slept on so much is Open Mic. Like if you guys have not heard Open Mic off Infinite, fucking go and listen to that shit. He eats through the beat like no one's business. It's amazing. What else? What are the tracks? The Childhood track's amazing. Infinite got like spacey 96 beat, and it's wonderful to listen to even now. And there's also a remix version on Eminem's YouTube channel officially, so that's really good to listen to. What else? He talks about quite a few things here. Now, sure, there's not like any big concept here, but like the songs are so individually good on their own that it's not bad. There's a couple boring ones. For example, like there's one here called. There's one where he goes with his friend. I forgot what the name is. Oh yeah, it's okay. It's a broke day, but everything is okay. I'm up all night. Like it's good, but it's just maybe I just don't like laid back musical that much. But it's not that great. But this album's really slept on. It's not a classic, but it's pretty good. So I'm gonna put it on the good category. Yeah, good. All right, next one we're gonna switch it up now, and we're going to go with another album that's not talked about much, the Slim Shady EP. Now this is an EP, so it's not really long or anything, but this is really good. Like this is really good. This is when Slim Shady come back, and you can see how fucking pissed off he was when Infinite like just you know just completely got out the way, and it was just like he's like, okay, people are saying, oh, you bit your style, you. So he's like, okay, fuck you all, I'm making this thing, I'm gonna tear through rap. And honestly, he really did good. Murder's fantastic. Nobody's Iller Than Me is just god tier. This is on my like that's on my 10 top 10 Eminem songs. It's just great. What else? This is a pretty good album. If I Had was originally on here, not on some shitty EP. If I Had was on this EP. So this is a really good collection, honestly. This is on the lower end of great. Once this will be on the lower of great, once the other albums come through. Okay, another one. Marshall Mathers LP2 is the next track. Marshall Mathers LP2, I Don't Care, is Eminem's new classic. Anyone can tell me differently, but this album for me is easily the best album he's put out since Encore. Like, by far. It beats out Relapse. It beats out It's Good. Like it's such a complete chapter. It's like a concept album. It's like his whole life and his whole career boxed into one album. It's beautiful. Sure, there's like a couple tracks that are not good in there. Like Monster's boring as fuck. Even though the subject matter is great, but like the beat is dumb. The way he spits is just, ugh. But like this album is great. Rap God is not that great either. Like it's technically impressive, but I never like raps ever. So that's not my thing. I'm not a very big fan of fast rap. But it's a really good album. Like if anyone like forgot about this one, just go back and listen to it, and you'll see why I think it's a classic. It's a very well-rounded. It gives you a bit of everything, which is what's nice about this album, and it actually feels very cohesive. Also, the guests are not bad. Like I wish there was more rappers on here, but at least it's not like where there's like a fucking pop artist on every single track ever. So at least it has that going for it. Okay, now let's talk about this thing. Um, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it here. Just put this here. I'm not gonna talk about this. I'm actually gonna change the quality. There. We'll just name it that. I'm not gonna go on that. Okay, next one. Kamikaze. Now after whatever this thing's called, I don't even want to say the name anymore. After this one came out, I'm just gonna put it here for a placeholder. While this one came out, he had to come back hard, cause yeah. But here's the thing about this album: it's really good, like in terms of like in comparison. But going back, it's actually not that good of an album. First off, it talks about the same shit for like 15, 13 tracks, and the tracks he doesn't talk about it on are another good boring relationship stuff. Now don't get me wrong, he has a lot of like playful lyricism and punchlines, but the beats are trap garbage again. Like they're not good. The only one that's the only trap one that I think is really good is like, what's it called? That's how much we have in common. Oh yeah, Not Alike with Doris Savadna, because the second part is just beast mode, but the other ones are just okay beats. However, Stepping Stone, in my opinion, is the best track on the album. It's everything that one Eminem album. It's introspective. It actually has a fucking point to existing. It advances the Eminem lore of like what's going on in his life. You know, it actually makes sense. and it's like, oh yeah, you know, I see what's going on here, and I like how he brought that Slim Shady LP-esque anger back. I just wish it was done with better material, but overall it's a good effort. It's just not as good as people hailed it back in 2018. But I mean, when you put it side by side to this, it's very easy to see why people thought this was like a classic or anything. So I'll put it in the good category. It's good. Alright, next one we have is an underrated, I mean, most people think it's underrated classic is Relapse. Now, Relapse beats are the best on any album. We'll get that out of the way. The beats on this thing beat every single Eminem album ever. However, the accents are annoying, and sometimes the lyrics are just stupid. Like, as much as I really want to make this a classic, it's not. It's a very good album, but it's not a classic. However, I will say, besides, like, the Marshall Mathers LP2, this is the last like old Eminem feeling album. Every album besides Relapse and Marshall Mathers LP2, even the newer ones, do not feel like a classic Eminem album whatsoever. So this one, at least, it feels like Encore, feels like the Eminem show in terms of like the structure, what he's talking about, the feeling. But for me, the accents like kind of bog it down, and there's some songs that are just pointless filler. For example, My Mom is just dumb. Like, just My mom knows that you relax drugs. Like, yeah, when I was like 12, I laughed at it, but now it's just like it's. Ugh. Also, another song was called that's really like annoys me because it's kind of funny, but the chorus is just killing me. Hello, when he goes, "Hello, allow me to introduce myself. My name is." Like, why couldn't you make that the chorus? And then he makes no, "Your booty table, light your low," and it's like, why, why, why would you do that? You had a good chorus there. Just stick with that. But I have to say this is pretty good. Like, it has a serial killer vibe. It really feels Slim Shady. It's basically, this is a good album. Like, this is still, I think, an essential for any rap listener to listen to this one. This is going in the great category too, right above the Slim Shady EP. It's not classic, but it's pretty close. All right. Next one we have. Next one we have is Recovery. Now, this is going to be a really strong opinion for me. I think Recovery is either mediocre or trash tier with Revival. Now, hear me out. The subject matter on here is really good, but for me, the beats are shit, and the way he screams on every single track is just impossible to listen to for the whole album. There's a few good tracks on here, but man, oh man, oh man, the screaming, like, ah! Every track is not appealing to listen to. I don't give a heck. Unless you're like turned up or drugged out of your fucking mind, then there's no reason why you listen to this shit. But however, the thing is, I don't want it because like it talks about his addiction. It talks about so it's so the content matter is so nice, but the beats and the way he puts it together is just shit. Like the only one I thought here was actually good was like I mean solid was either Riders or the Untitled track. But everything else it was just bogged down. Going Through Change is beautiful, beautiful. That's a good one too. But like there's like three, four good tracks. The rest of them either are fucked up by something, either the screamy delivery or the very generic pop beat 2010 beat, or something goes wrong with them. So this one I'm not gonna put in trash tier because at least the message is good, but I'll put it mediocre above side B. Okay, next we have side A, Music to Be Murdered By. This one goes in great. Like it's just easy. This one now, while it doesn't have the Eminem classic feel, just the tracks on their own are so solid that it's impossible not to put it in great. It's just literally impossible. Like there's just so many good tracks. Premonition, Little Engine is fucking fire. The engine go. It's just great. What else? We also have what's it called? We also have like some other good tracks like that actually talk about his life a little bit, like Stepdad. We had Darkness, which is really introspective. Eminem, if you're listening to this, Darkness is the way you should go. Introspective stuff is your strong suit. Do it. Do an album with that. What else? The beats are actually pretty good. When it's not trap garbage, it's really good. When it's not just like straight trap beat, the album is fantastic beats. So this is a pretty good album. There's a few tracks as well that don't really belong here. For example, Leaving Heaven, the beat is so boring, I want to kill myself, but the subject matter is great and carries the song. Eminem carries the song. Skylar Grey's awful and the beat's awful, but he's good. What else song? No Regrets is not bad, it's just that I don't like regrets, or whoever that guy is. Don Toliver, I just don't like his voice. Sounds like a dick shoved down his throat. I'm sorry. What else? But yeah, it's a pretty solid album. It's good. It's really good. I'm very tempted to put a Pub Relapse, so I'll think about it as the review keeps going, because like it's hard to decide which is better. Okay, next ones we're gonna go. We're gonna go over some obvious ones,